Thank you, sir. Good morning to all of you. The agenda of the session, as sir said, is securing critical information infrastructure of the country. First of all, I want to say that I'm really privileged to speak in front of the esteemed audience, which is also to be very precise, very relevant audience for the topic which we are going to dwell down further. And I'm also enlightened to see how much initiatives government is taking in various places to touch common man's life. As a security practitioner from the industry, I believe our job is also one of the amongst the most difficult job which we have, because security is intangible. And conveying the message that security is important at times become very difficult because there's no return on investment. And the second important thing is, as per the psychology, human psychology, we connect to insecurity more than security. So to give an example, if I have to plan the life insurance for my own self, I would check 100 plans to see which is benefit to myself, because it is insecurity to a life. But when I have to actually go and buy a car, for example, so if you see the probability, because I'm on the road almost 30% or 40% of my time, the probability of me meeting with an accident is quite huge. But when I go to buy a car, I don't really go and check for the features of security within that car. I see mileage, I see the style quotient, I see a lot of other things, but I don't see security features in the car, because it denotes to security as a control. So human mind as a psychology does not connect to security as much, it actually connects to insecurity. So that is the reason why that our job is very difficult to convey the message why security is important. And that is one of the reasons why when we drive most of the projects, security is afterthought. We implement the projects and then we think about security at the hindsight, that okay, this happened, that happened, what could have been done to save it. And that becomes much more difficult for us to actually go and implement security, because it's already, entire structure has already been designed and formulated. Now we have to do a bolt-on security, which means we have to bolt on security on top of it. Whereas the right security is about DNA, that you have to have that security in the DNA of the process. With this, I will directly jump into the topic. Securing critical information infrastructure. Now, what is this critical information infrastructure? Now, there are 8 sectors as per the government of US who are defined to be under this, and these are the sectors which actually are very critical and they form the backbone of the country. Because if somebody can cripple these critical infrastructure, it can actually bring down the entire country onto its knees. So some of them are more, in context of India, some of them already are totally driven by IT, some of them are still catching up, but these are the infrastructure which is having a larger interdependency, which means if one sector goes down, it will have cascading effect and crippling effect on other sectors, which is why it becomes very dangerous. Now, what are the threats to these critical information? Which are we trying to secure against? So that more traditional threats are natural disasters, right? We have been seeing that there are natural disasters to these threats, like earthquake, tsunami, and there are so many other things. Then the threats are war, which is traditionally war from the enemy countries. They try to destruct or they try to demolish the critical infrastructure to cripple the country and to harm our country. And of late we have seen something called terrorism, also eyeing the same critical information infrastructure of a country to harm the country in a whole. But in the new cyber era, something very new is happening, which is trying to attack these critical infrastructure using cyber, because everything is connected nowadays. IT proliferation is such a huge thing, and it is such an enabler to drive that project to the last mile, as we discussed in detail in the last session. This also opens up a gate for a lot of cyber attacks. So that is one reason why a lot of conferences and a lot of emphasis is nowadays being given by various agencies to see that what all those critical security loopholes can be exploited to bring down this entire infrastructure, because now our enemies don't need to really come do war against us to cripple down our critical infrastructure. They can easily do it through cyber route, which is unguarded. Now, the biggest challenge is the attacks not new. They keep developing themselves. The new generation threats keeps coming. There is an entire infrastructure to secure that. But the biggest challenge in this particular space of critical information is that that interdependency and the crippling effect which it called. Because logical hack does not limit its damage to the financial loss. It can very well go beyond financial loss to a physical loss or to an actual loss of a life. Which is what? So you can have a logical failure which will which will result to a loss of life. So this is why the impact becomes the most important part in securing it. And what is our reaction when we started getting these kind of attacks in cyber? Our natural reaction was to create air gaps, which is create isolated networks. So we have a SCADA network, let's not connect it to the internet, so that we can actually ensure that the threats are not coming from the internet, they are not affected. Most of the armed forces networks are air gap, right, which is not connected to the internet. That's our natural reaction, was that let's not connect to the internet and let's keep the bad world outside. And we did one more fundamental mistake, and that fundamental mistake is assumes that hackers do not have a domain expertise, especially in case of SCADA networks. We believe that it is a control network, it is electronics and communication network. Hackers have understanding more on IP and internet network, they don't understand. So this was good till 2008. This approach served in some way that yes, we were not attacked too much. But then in 2008, the attack called Stuxnet unearthed or got surfaced. And it actually opened all eyes that even if we disconnect our entire network from the internet, it doesn't mean it is secure. Because it actually targeted a nuclear power plant which was totally isolated from the internet. So there are means and ways we can actually get into those networks as well. And that is the reason why now most of the governments across the world are now started thinking about the frameworks and other things about security, because if the hackers can get into the isolated network with a domain expertise, because Stuxnet hackers exactly knew what Siemens controller is doing in a centrifugal speed on the nuclear power plant. They were not only IT knowledgeable, they were having a domain expertise of that network. So all misnomers as actually was wide open in front of us to look at that how we can secure the entire network. So what's the road? Let's try to look at and dissect problem into small pieces and see what we can do in our day-to-day lives or in our day-to-day work life to secure our nation's critical infrastructure. Now, one very, very important thing is that in 2013, which is the latest trend which Checkpoint has researched, that these are some threats which is very important. And if you see the top of the chart is social engineering. Here it is very, very important. Even the hackers are taking note of the situation that it is very, very easy to trick a user to plant a targeted malware in critical information infrastructure than to really hack the perimeter. It becomes so easy because we're all connected so much that it becomes so much easy for a hacker that he does not need to really do a lot of resources, invest a lot of resources, but he has to just trick a user, critical user, and then plant a malware in through his laptops or smartphones or whatever you say, and then it actually start doing its work internally. And there are some, you see APTs, bot, and we have been seeing this from last 2 days. What are various trends have been spoken about, so I will not dwell in detail into these attacks. So let's try to put all the blocks together and see what pictures emerges. So there are 3 main pillars for securing the information, critical information infrastructure. The first pillar is regulatory law enforcement and certs. These are the agencies which creates the policies, which creates the regulation, which creates the cyber law, right? And the various standards across the world which people are adopting under the national security framework. So that is the first pillar. The second pillar is operators. In our country's context, NIC could be an operator, right? The people who own the infrastructure, who really operates them in and out, those are the operators, who has also equal amount of role to play in securing the critical information infrastructure. And the third pillar is probably people like me, private companies or domain experts, and there need to be synergy between all these 3 together, and all of them have to work parallelly to actually solve the part of the piece. We know the technology, you know the execution, and if we actually are backed by the laws, we can actually change the situation very well. So let's see what is the role of regulators across the world. They are formulating and driving the standards. They're also getting into treaties of cross country, so that if the attempt has been happened from the cross border, how we can actually mitigate them, what are the nitty-gritties into it. Build capacity and awareness. I want to spend few seconds here because that's the most important thing as a country we are facing as a challenge. Because when there is an attack, do we have enough capacity of people who understand these cyber attacks, who understand this forensics analysis, who can do for us wonders at the time of an attack? We need to see that a lot of countries are now coming up with these courses, education programs, where these are inculcated as a part of education program and given as a degree of cyber experts and stuff like that. So this is one very, very important point. We have to build capacities to handle these menaces at a larger level. Because we have not yet really seen the cyber war. It's just in pockets, some incidents has happened. But if it has to happen one day, we have to really cover up a lot of grounds to create capacity and to handle those, that particular problem. And the final is crisis communication and emergency warning services, which is like coordination centers, creating national command center, sharing intelligence, which also involves sharing intelligence between cyber world and the physical, physical security like IB and police intelligence, and do vice versa to actually solve the part of the problem. But I have few fundamental questions. Because when we go and talk to the customers, when customers shares their concern with us across multiple forums, we always wait for regulators to drive a standard and then tell us that what has to be done. And this is where I want to link it to insecurity, because do we really wait for police station to come before we deploy a housing security in our housing societies? Probably not. Whether there's a police station near my vicinity or not, I will still put a security guard in my housing society, right? That's our own initiative. We are not waiting for somebody to come and teach us. And similarly, we don't even wait for some standard body to drive standard for lock and key before we put doors on our lock, right? That's self-initiative. We know that this is a bit which we have to do to secure ourselves. But it is not true when it comes to the social world, so to say, because it is not personal. We are not insecure there. It took, actually, in most of the five-star hotel, it took Taj attack to happen before they put scanners in front of the hotel, five-star hotel, and start scanning. It actually took that damage to happen for us to realize that this is something which is very, very important. So we have also, as an operator, has an equal role to play. While regulatory bodies will drive standards, they will help us in giving us directions. But there are certain miles which we can walk ourselves. So that is the food of thought which I want to say, that it is very, very important for all of us to walk that mile which we can actually do on our own capacity. And if you see, if the answer for any of this question is no, we have to get up and we have to really, really start looking at our own work life and see what we can do to make sure that our infrastructure is not becoming targeted and we are not becoming that inducing part in the entire crippling effect or introductory element into all crippling effort. And what we have to do, we don't have to go to the rocket science. We have to again go back to the basics. That what are those basics of security? Are we implementing them? Are we actually doing the proper standards, or are we doing the proper health checks and stuff like that? So just to give you some idea about any network today has these two components when it comes to critical information infrastructure. Some of them has the standard IT setup, like end computing, server farm, data centers and stuff like that. And some of us in terms of critical information has SCADA networks, which is control infrastructure, like for example, power sector or a railway has a part of its network into SCADA and so on and so forth. And there is a security challenge in both of them. It's not only the first piece, and we need to relook at this and see what we can do to secure it further, how we can improve, what we can do in a fine tuning. And the moment we see these pictures, the natural reactions again come to us is basically start building controls after controls, keep putting devices into the rack, and this is what we feel the moment we talk about security. But security is not only about putting different controls. It is basically a lot of things to do, what it means to say that it is just not enough to add technologies. It is also how you manage those technologies. It is also where are you implementing those technology and so on and so forth. So what we have to we have to probably go back into our design table and see that what are the common vulnerabilities, what are the intelligence sources which I'm connected to, which can give me early warning system, and what I can give it as a feed. And it is very important to understand, in a normal security, like the biggest intelligence comes from the street. For example, if I have to create a IB network and I have to get information of a terrorist, it will come eventually from the street, the informers on the street, which will actually tell us where the know-hows of the people who are against us. In the similar way, even if there is a central command center, the actual patterns of attack is going to come from your networks, because those are the end targets. If you will not share that back with the CERT, if there is no mechanism where you go and share those patterns back to the people, or you do not analyze them, then the intelligence becomes superficial. Without any harm. We will know what's happening in the world, but we do not know what is harming us. So that's very, very important to engage with expert and relook what intelligence I am generating from my network and how I am getting benefited from the other people or peers in that sector. And as you know, in the trend also, the two most common vulnerability which we have is the human and technology. And most often than not, we dwell all our time in understanding the technology vulnerability, not the human part of it. Whereas the most often exploited vulnerability in 2011 and 12 was a human vulnerability. The biggest attacks, even in the corporate world like RSA and Lockheed Martin, and are initiated by the social engineering. So those are the things which we fail to understand and we need to see. I will now rush up a little bit. So realign our security strategy into all dimensions, which is threat, vulnerability, and attack techniques. Understand our entire security paradigm, that what is unknown to us. The critical section is unknown to us, which we do not know the threats, we do not know where they are going to come from, what vulnerabilities are going to exploit. And look at it, that how we can bring that or that critical or unknown to a known. Because security is again all about, if I know, I can secure it. The problem is I do not know. So how can you bring down that unknown thing to a known, which I know the threat vector and I know the vulnerability. And within your networks, if you have to see, because we have to see that what is, end of the day, I have to do, what is my bit. In my network, I should be able to track the exfiltration over and above infiltration, which means I should know what I am sending out, which networks I am connecting to outside, what countries my network is talking to, what data is going out. Understand who's the users who are using, whether they are bots or legitimate users. Track the applications which have been used. Track the content which is being used. Geography, and monitor the risk. Now here I went to one of the defense Indian Army headquarters, and I was just doing some SOC work, Security Operations Center design work with them, and I saw a placard in the back of the commander, and it really hit me in a very important idea, because it was written that you get what you inspect, you do not get what you expect. So if you do not inspect proper things in your network in a proper place, you would probably not going to know what is going to come. Because typical way of our life today is that we deploy some control and assume it to be in autopilot mode. But if we do not implement them properly, if we do not manage them properly, we do not inspect the right places, right element, then we will not probably be able to get the right thing. Now what is as an industry we can do to do only one slide I have on this, that how can we help? We have three pillars. We see what regulators can do, what as an operators we can do, and what as an industry we can help you is, we can help you building your controls. We can help you giving you the intelligence of what is happening across the world in your sector and otherwise. And we can also help you with expertise. That if you need design expert, you need forensic expertise, you need any kind of expertise, we will be able to do it. So with this I end my presentation, and I will have a small video just to give you a heads up as to what is in waiting in future. A small video which my creative team has made for us, especially for this forum. So I'll just. Can I have voice, audio? Can we have audio? Where do you want to connect?
hackers penetrate and ravage private and publicly owned computer systems.
Half the planet.
I just arrived from America, and someone has taken my passport, my credit cards, my bank accounts, everything. Someone has taken them. These people are doing everything they can to keep me from finding out who I am.
I'm doing America a favor. Is the country willing to pay for it?
FAA just issued a critical alert. The entire network went down.
Transportation system's crashing and they just hit the entire financial sector.
You have no idea who you're dealing with.
Jesus Christ, it's a fire sale. It's a three-step. It's a three-step systematic attack on the entire national infrastructure. Okay, step one, take out all the transportation. Step two, financial base and telecoms. Step three, get rid of all the utilities, gas, water, electric, nuclear, pretty much anything that's run by computers, which today is almost everything. So that's why they call it a fire sale, because everything must go.
FAA just issued a critical alert. Their ATC net just went down.
We're under attack.
Western and Central hubs are ours. We're just waiting on Mai's end. Hang on. Something's up. All the security's reactivating.
So with this food of thought, I would invite other speakers to talk. I just want to leave all of you with a school of thought that it is in our interest that when we talk about security in our own networks, that we really do due diligence like we are doing with any other project, because end of the day, we all are trying to touch common man's life, and this is nothing more important than saving their lives. Thank you.